The call came in at 2:17 a.m. Structure fire, vacant residence, 47 Maple Drive. Firefighter Jake Sullivan sat upright in his bunk, rubbing the exhaustion from his eyes. A vacant residence fire usually meant a quick in and out. Squatters, an electrical short, or arson by bored teenagers. No big deal. He glanced across the room where Chris, his partner, was already lacing up his boots. "Let's get this over with," Chris muttered, yawning. Within minutes, the crew was geared up and en route. The fire truck's sirens cut through the empty suburban streets, the orange glow of the fire visible long before they reached the house. It was an old Victorian relic, towering and eerie even in its prime. Now, flames chewed through the roof, belching thick black smoke into the night sky. The windows pulsed with an unnatural glow, casting flickering shadows across the overgrown lawn. Jake stepped out of the truck, staring up at the house. He didn't know why, but something about it made his stomach twist. It felt wrong, like they were stepping into something they shouldn't. "Vacant my ass?" Chris muttered, shouldering his axe. Captain Harris barked orders. "Sullivan, Ryan, take the front. Check for hot spots. We've got reports of squatters, so clear it if you find anyone." Jake swallowed the unease creeping up his spine and followed Chris toward the front door. The air was thick with smoke and something else, something stale, like rotting wood and... was that food? They breached the door. Instantly, the heat pressed in on them, sweat beading beneath their helmets. That's when Jake heard it, a whisper, soft, faint, but unmistakable. "Did you hear that?" he asked, stopping dead in his tracks. Chris frowned. "What?" Jake strained his ears, but the whisper was gone, replaced by the crackle of burning timber. "Nothing. Let's move." Inside, the house was a labyrinth of peeling wallpaper and sagging wooden beams. They moved cautiously through the smoke, sweeping their flashlights over each room. In the living room, the fire raged along the walls, but something caught Jake's eye, a photo on the mantel, untouched by the flames. It was a black and white picture of a family, parents, 2 kids, smiling proudly in front of this very house. The glass frame cracked from the heat, but the photo remained intact. He didn't know why, but it unnerved him. Then he heard it again, a whisper. "Help us." Jake spun around, flashlight trembling in his grip. "Chris, I swear to God, I heard something." Chris shook his head. "It's the fire, man. Let's clear the place and get out." Jake wasn't convinced, but he pressed on. In the dining room, they found something far worse than whispers. A table, set for dinner, plates arranged neatly, glasses filled with dark, dried liquid, silverware perfectly aligned. The lace tablecloth, coated in a thin layer of dust, remained pristine beneath the suffocating smoke. Chris took a step back. "No way. This place has been empty for years, right?" Jake's mouth was dry. He reached out and touched one of the glasses. It was cold. Then the radio crackled to life, static, followed by a voice, a child's voice. "Why did you come here?" Jake froze. "Dispatch!" he called, his voice shaking. "Say again!" Only static responded. Chris backed toward the doorway. "Let's go, man, now." As they moved deeper into the house, the fire seemed to resist their progress, growing more violent. Every time they thought they had an exit, debris collapsed in their path, forcing them further in. Ryan, another firefighter, appeared from the hallway, eyes wide. "Guys, I saw something upstairs. A person. I swear." Jake's skin crawled. "Upstairs? No one's supposed to be here." "I know what I saw," Ryan insisted. "I'm not crazy." Reluctantly, they pushed up the stairs. The second floor was worse. Smoke curled in thick waves, choking the air. The whispers grew louder now, weaving through the crackling flames. Jake shined his light down the hall, and that's when he saw them. Figures, shadowy outlines standing at the end of the corridor, motionless in the smoke. Chris gasped beside him. "Jesus Christ!" Jake's hand tightened on his axe, but before he could say a word, the shadows moved. They flickered, disappearing into the dark. A violent crash echoed from below, and Captain Harris's voice barked over the radio. "Evacuate! Get out of there now!" They bolted down the stairs, crashing through debris, lungs burning. The moment they made it outside, the fire stopped. Just like that. They stood panting in the cold night air, staring at the house. The flames that had been so uncontrollable a moment ago flickered and died, leaving only blackened walls and smoke curling lazily from the rafters. "What the hell just happened?" Ryan muttered, shaking. Hours later, when the investigation team arrived, they found no sign of squatters, no signs of recent activity. But the dinner table inside remained untouched, pristine, waiting. Over the next few days, strange things started happening at the station. The scent of smoke lingered where it shouldn't. Radios clicked on in the middle of the night, filled with garbled whispers. Jake found himself staring at his reflection in the locker room mirror one night when he heard it, right behind him. "Why did you come here?" He spun around. No one was there. A week later, the alarm rang again. "Structure fire, 47 Maple Drive." Jake's heart dropped into his stomach. Chris looked at him, pale-faced. No, that place burned down. But when they arrived, the house stood there, perfectly intact, as if it had never burned at all. And standing in the upstairs window, barely visible through the swirling smoke, was a figure, watching, waiting. Their radios crackled, and a voice whispered through the static, "Come back inside." Jake handed in his resignation the following week. Some fires, he realized, you couldn't put out. Some houses didn't want to be saved. And late at night, when the firehouse was silent, he'd sometimes hear it again. A voice distant and echoing through the halls. "We're still here?